All right, well, let's go ahead and kick this off. Thank you, everyone, for joining my presentation today, because as you know, it is National Computer Science, not Computer Science Week, National Apprenticeship Week, and a lot of folks have been very interested. What is an array apprenticeship? How does it work? And so I'm really hoping that the presentation this evening will be helpful. And so, once again, I just want to welcome all of you. One of the exciting things that we'll be talking about this afternoon is that our apprenticeships and our boot camps, we are opening them up to the entire country. Obviously, due to the pandemic, we have this big, beautiful building in downtown, which but for 2021, we're going to be really focused on remote apprenticeships and learning. So this opens up the door for many of you to be able to come to Array in 2021 and potentially be one of our apprentices. So really quickly, I'll give you a backstory. So my name, if you don't know me already, my name is Eric Trowbridge, but I just go by my initials ET. Born and raised here in Cheyenne, and then I left and worked for Apple in San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York City, and Chicago for about 10-ish or so years. And I am now back in Wyoming. I moved back a little over 6 years ago, and I'm one of the founders of Array. And some of you, or those of you who live in Cheyenne, you probably have seen our building about a year and a half ago. My business partners, Amy and Dan Surdam, we acquired this building, and it's 109-ish or some years old. So it's really awesome. It's been really cool to take this historic building and kind of give it a facelift, making it ground zero for technology and for design. We also added a big sign, so if you've driven by it, you really can't miss the Array sign. It's very colorful and it's very big, which I think really kind of stands for what Array is and what we're about. But then also on the inside, we've been working on renovating the ground floor, the fourth floor. So some of you may have noticed that our plants and those kind of things are gone. Array did not close. We simply were renovating the fourth floor, able to move in. And then of course, as soon as we renovated the fourth floor, COVID-19 hit, and so it's been kind of quiet here, but we're looking forward to sometime in the next year being able to bring people back. And this is just kind of like a sneak peek of some of the things that we're working on upstairs on the fourth floor. So, we've got a water vapor fireplace, we've got a large area, seating, we've got conference rooms. I love plants, so one of the things that I decided to take on a hobby about 3 years ago was I needed something to get away from my computer screen, and I love plants. So as a fun fact, Array actually has 96 different plants that contain 32 different species, so it's kind of a fun little tropical atmosphere that we have going on here. So I love my plants. It actually takes me about 6 hours every Saturday to water all of them. But the reason that we are all here tonight is simply because it is National Apprenticeship Week. And so this is something that's really exciting. We became a Department of Labor registered apprenticeship, which I'll give you more details about in late February. So of course, this happened right as the pandemic hit. And so we've gotten to have to be creative on how we make it work. But the things that I want to kind of go over with you this evening that hopefully will answer a lot of your questions are, first and foremost, who and what is Array trying to accomplish? I can't tell you how many times people go, what is Array? And I'm like, well, do you have 2 minutes or 2 hours? Because it's a very complex school studio company. So, but really, what is our mission statement? Who is Array, and what is Array trying to accomplish? The next thing that we definitely want to talk about are, what are the Array School, Studio, and Apprenticeship options, and how do they work? So I'm assuming the majority of you are here to learn all about these things, so I definitely want to go in depth about that. And then as well as provide some time here at the very end for any questions and answers, or questions that you have that I might be able to answer for you. So that's really the three big topics that we're going to be going over this evening. So let's go ahead and jump right in to the very first part. And so who and what is Array trying to accomplish? So I've been working on Array for about 6 years. Array actually was incorporated as a private school on April 19th, 2016. So we're about to be 5 years old in April. But we spent some time doing some market research and would a boot camp, coding, technology, computer science, would that work in Cheyenne and in rural America? We've learned a lot. in that our almost 5 years. And when I started thinking about all the different things that Array has offered and what we've gotten involved in, it really kind of distilled down into one core mission statement, which our mission statement at Array is: we want to disrupt and forever change the technology and design industries in rural America. One of the biggest lessons I feel that we learned was that technology and design industries in rural America are very different than what they would be in urbanized areas. In a big city like Denver, New York City, San Francisco, Austin, these cities already had a bunch of things built in that really kind of cultivated their tech industries. What's really interesting, obviously now in a post-pandemic world, or we're in pandemic, but looking forward to a post-pandemic world, is the massive changes that are going to happen and the disruption that's going to be caused in technology and design. And can now we make these industries really work in rural America? That's the question. That's the mission statement. And to make this work, there's a bunch of different ingredients for tech and design to work. So you have to have strong diversity and inclusion, a really strong culture, food, arts, and music scene. You had to have the right education. It's always kind of the chicken and the egg. Do you train people and then you wait for companies to come in, or do you try to attract companies and then you try to train them? It's this very difficult scenario, which I think Array has really kind of landed on one side. How do you create a 21st century workplace? How do you bring in new people? And obviously, most importantly, how do you create jobs? As people transition from other career fields into tech and design, they're just not doing it just for fun. They're there to create new jobs. And at Array, over the last 5 years, I think we've been focused on quite a few of them. So we obviously are beating hard is our school. We've been offering these boot camp style type programs. They've ranged anywhere from 4 months to 10 months. We've changed it based on how the technology industry has been changing. We've brought in new people from everywhere. We really love diversity and inclusion. One of the things I love most about Array, obviously, is our people and our students and our staff. And our diversity within Array is really incredible for a rural school. So we're very small, but our average age at Array is 33. So we have what are considered a lot of like midlife transitioners. They've gone to school already. They didn't maybe necessarily want to go back to a more formalized like 2 or 4 year program. They wanted to kind of get in, learn some new things, and hopefully then get a job. And so the cool thing about the diversity is we've got in some of our classes, we might have an 18-year-old learning alongside of a 50-plus-year-old. So it's so cool to see the diversity in age and sexual orientation and ethnicity. It's really just a great place. And also diversity is important because it rolls out a welcome mat. When you see all these different people from different walks of life wanting to learn computer science and graphic design for the first time and have this very safe environment, it's just really where the magic happens. And really, obviously, the thing that really makes us fulfilled in running Array is when we see our students either enter into our apprenticeships and work on real projects, get jobs. It's just really very exciting for us. So, but one of the challenges that Array has is what are our core focuses? As we were the first private school to focus in technology and design-oriented career paths, everyone kind of wants us to do everything. They want us to do online and remote and in person and K through 12. And Array is a very small team. I mean, we really have only 4 senior staff members. And so we really have to focus on what makes Array unique, what do we offer, and then make those the best that they can be and also make them world-class as time goes on. So, our core focuses as of today really have been 2 areas. So let's start with the first one. The first one has been a school. So as I mentioned, we've been teaching these boot camps for a while, and we continue to offer boot camps at Array. So we actually just finalized our 2021 boot camps, and I'll talk to you about how our school and our boot camps kind of segue into an apprenticeship potentially at Array. So what we offer at Array in 2021 coming up, we offer what's called a full stack web engineering or web programmer boot camp. What this boot camp is geared to do, we actually have 10 students/apprentices in our boot camp right now. They'll graduate on December 18th, so they've got about a month and a half until they're ready to kind of go out there in the world. But our boot camps are designed to either prep you for becoming a paid apprentice at Array, or to start a new career in the tech industry, whether that is through an apprenticeship or working at Array, or us helping you find new positions in Wyoming and across the country. It's really about prepping you for these opportunities. The tuition for our 2021 boot camps is $12K, and we've got multiple ways for you to be able to finance that tuition. We have options for pay in full, pay as you go, which is actually brand new with our partner, Climb Credit in New York City, so we're working on that. And next week when admissions open, I'll tell you all about this really cool new pay as you go option. We also have traditional loans available. We also accept the GI Bill through the Department of Veteran Affairs, so that took us a good year to get approved for it. So welcome military veterans. And we also are an approved what's called an eligible training provider through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And so there's an opportunity, depending on your income, to have some or all of your tuition paid for by the state, which again is really exciting. One of the big announcements that we made is that for the 2021 boot camps are going to be entirely remote. And so again, this was just because of the pandemic, but also allows anyone from around the state of Wyoming or the country to be able to learn computer science, graphic design, and get them ready for, again, a new career or an apprenticeship at Array. So we're super stoked about this. One of the things that, as a new school, we are really dedicated to making remote education work. And so we hired a new director of instruction. His name is Matt Lindley. He's doing great, and we're really trying to perfect the art of remote education. And so simply we do a 9 to 12 p.m. remote class, and then we have a 1 to 5 lab where you start working on projects, and usually every 2 or 3 weeks you have projects that are due. And we have 2 start dates coming up in 2021. So we have our spring boot camp, which begins February 1st, so we're less than 3 months away, and will run until May 21st, 16 weeks, about 550 hours of instructional time. And then we also have our fall boot camp for 2021, August 23rd through December 17th, 17 weeks, because we've got some holidays in there like Thanksgiving, but also at 553 instructional hours. And we're going to be opening up applications and admissions next week for these remote boot camps at Array, so we're super excited to have you apply and get ready for that. And if you have any questions about how to apply or when those applications open, obviously you can follow us here on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, or you can also just email us at office@arrayschool.com. You can also go to our website, arrayschool.com, and sign up for our email newsletter, and we're going to send out a blast as soon as those applications open for our 2021 new boot camp. So we're super excited about what's going on at the school. And just a quick little aside, we also do offer Array Online. We're just beginning to dip our toes into pre-recorded online lessons. You can go to online.arrayschool.com, and we are beginning with Introduction to Computer Science Fundamentals using the world's #1 programming language, JavaScript. So you can actually check that out right now, and we're going to be releasing new content over the next couple months. So really excited about remote and online opportunities that Array's never offered before. And then second, one thing that a lot of people don't know that Array's done, we haven't really talked about a whole lot, is about a year and a half ago, we opened up a creative studio. Since we opened up Array, I can't tell you how many individuals, small companies, medium-sized companies be like, "Oh, Array, could you help us with a website, or could you build a mobile app for us?" And I've always been like, well, no, like we're a school. We teach our students how to do that so that you can hire them. But we decided how cool would it be, well, just to be able to offer our senior staff an opportunity to continue to refine and polish their skills in the studio world. So Array actually does have a professional creative design and technology studio built inside of it. And so the things that we like to work on are we love to work on web applications. We love to work on mobile application development for iOS and for Android. We also do a lot of like database design and back-end web engineering and security and encryption on how do we pass data from these different things. We also do a little bit of graphic design, so sometimes we do branding and some mobile prototypes and mock-ups and wireframes. All of these things probably you may or may not know about, but that's why Array exists, so you can learn about them. And then we're always at Array scoping out for new tech and design projects and also new partners. So if there are companies out there that have technology needs, we love working with you and trying to figure out if it would be a good fit for us and our apprentices to help work on your projects. And so if you are an individual, you're a company, and you want to learn more about partnering with Array and our studio side, you can obviously also email us at office@Array School. And the reason why I bring up our two core focuses, the Array School and the Array Studio, is because this is where this magical little space exists, which is Array's apprenticeship program. Because without the two, the apprenticeships wouldn't exist. So when we started the school and we had the studio, we were kind of working on them alongside. And then Michael Broad, the Federal Department of Labor representative from the state of Wyoming, we started talking about what that might look like. How could we create a non-traditional career path and apprenticeships? And so we spent about a year going back and forth looking at what may or may not this look like. And when we started thinking about it, we looked at our long-term goals at Array and what we wanted the school to become. And we kind of came up with 5 things that we really wanted to do and do really, really well. The first one was we wanted to break down barriers of entry. Obviously $12,000 in tuition is not cheap, right? Very few people just have $12K just sitting in their bank account like, here you go. It was just really difficult to get into a private school like Array and take on that financial burden. We also wanted to continue to build on diversity. We wanted all walks of life, every age, all to be able to say, I want to come and learn computer science and I want to really work hard and try to get a career in the computer science, computer programmer, software developing, software engineering fields. Because at the end of the day, that industry as a whole around the world, we need so many new software engineers. There's such a lack of that. And one of the reasons being, this industry, it's not easy. Computer programming, computer science is not going to be for everyone. Like, you're sitting in front of a computer, you're writing code. It's a lot of creative problem solving, but we wanted to really hinge on building diversity. We also wanted to create more jobs and opportunities. One of the biggest metrics at Array is when we train students, what is their career path into the industry? As a private school, that is the most important thing, is do we provide them jobs, opportunities to skill up so that they get promoted at their current job. And we really love to keep learning and working on cool projects. At Array, as a school, there is no such thing as you've learned everything and now just go off and work. You probably all are aware the technology industry moves at the lightning pace, and so we're constantly having to re-up our skills, look at what's coming up in the industry, and how do we train for that, and how do we get ready for it. And we just love working on cool projects with cool partners, building apps and experiences. So we want to keep doing that. And then we also, one of the things I love also about Array is continuing to grow our relationships, our partnerships with the community, with our state, and really making an impact, which all of this ties back to kind of our big mission, which is, that we want to disrupt and forever change the technology and design industries in rural America. And I feel that now more than ever is the time to be able to do that. We have this incredible opportunity to get in there and really rethink how this works as people are beginning to disperse out of the urbanized areas and being able to work and learn remotely. There's a great opportunity for us to really reinvent and think differently about what that's going to look like. And so when we thought about how the school, the studio, maybe this apprenticeship thing may or may not come together, it really aligned with those. And when I thought about it, in a traditional education sense, what you do is you pay Array or you pay your community college, any kind of school, you pay them to go and learn technology, graphic design, or other different subject areas. What this apprenticeship allowed Array to do was flop out one of the words in the sentence, which is, we pay you to learn technology. One of our 10-year goals at Array is to make technology and graphic design education free for everyone in the state of Wyoming. And this was the very first baby step in our ability to begin to realize potentially what that dream would look like. And this can only happen through a Department of Labor, United States Registered Apprenticeship program. And so we were able to work with them, and on February 28th, we were able to finally announce our very first batch of apprenticeships at Array, specifically in technology and design. And so that's what we're here to talk about this evening. What are these apprenticeships, and how do they all work together? And that's what I love about apprenticeships. Because we have the Array School, one of our core focuses. We're going to constantly be a school. We're going to offer these boot camps. We're going to do online. We're going to do remote. We also offer our studio, where we work with real-world clients on their creative and technology needs and their projects. And when you mix the two, there's this magical little spot. And that is where our technology and design apprenticeships exist. And so it's this really cool, exciting space that we've been exploring. And here's actually a photo from February 28th, earlier this year, of us receiving our certificate that we had just become Wyoming's first technology and design computer programmer, web programmer, certified Department of Labor apprenticeship. And so we were super happy. This was February 28th. This is like a week before the whole world started to fall. And so that is what was really cool about our apprenticeships, is being able to take our two core focuses, being a world-class school in technology and design education and a world-class studio in technology and design projects, mixing the two together to create some really cool opportunities. And so at a very high level, here is how the Array apprenticeship kind of works. So first of all, we are certified, Registered Department of Labor apprenticeship. The kind of technical name of the apprenticeship is computer programmer, web developer, and we are the first of its kind in the state of Wyoming, and there's actually not that many out there, I don't think, in the country. So this is really a new, exciting area as we start looking at traditional education and workforce needs and all the disruption due to the pandemic. I have a gut feeling that there's going to be a wonderful opportunity for apprenticeships in the United States to really give people a lot more opportunity to join it and transition careers and make money at the same time. We are what's called a competency-based apprenticeship. So it's not necessarily determined by time. It's determined by when you, as you continue to work with us and you continue to learn new skills, then you start to move up. So we're competency-based. So we've got, I think there's 45 competencies at Array that we basically check off, which I'll talk about that way. Generally, it's about a 12-month program. The first 4 months are what are called related training instruction, or classroom. So that's that boot camp portion. While you are in the 4-month boot camp, depending on two different scenarios, either the 4 months of related training instruction, there is no cost to you if we have a company or a project partner sponsorship, or if you pay to come to our boot camp, then you can move into our 8-month paid apprenticeship, and that's what the 8 months of on-the-job training under a supervisor at Array. And so as an example, right now, we have 15 different projects in the Array Studio side. They range anywhere from very small to like a website, all the way up to machine learning and mobile application development. And so you'll be assigned a supervisor at Array, which I'll show you here in some upcoming slides. And the nice thing about having an apprenticeship is wage progression. So wage progression schedule, as you continue to work on real-world projects and you are able to demonstrate that proficiency, you move up in pay. So what our wage progression looks like at Array is you start off at $15 an hour. So if you go through our boot camp, you get hired as an Array apprentice, or we have a project partner that sponsors you and you go through your 4-month boot camp. As soon as you hit month 5, we start you off at $15 an hour, which here in Wyoming is actually just slightly over double the state minimum wage. So it's a great way for you to start making money, 40 hours a week, and you are working on real client projects with the supervision of Array senior staff. So as you're working on these things, you're learning about client relationships, you're learning about time management, you're learning how to get things done and how to build things. So instead of like being a school where it's like, oh, let's build a website about your dog or your cat. It's like, no, you're actually getting paid to learn and work on real world projects, which is really exciting. As you continue to work on these projects and you have a dedicated supervisor, they're going to check you off on those competencies. And once you've checked off enough of those, then we'll bump you up to $16.07 an hour. So the nice thing is there's an opportunity for you to earn more money as you continue to learn new and more valuable skills. And then at the end of your apprenticeship at Array, you will end at $17.07 an hour, which again, this is for that about 8 month, and there's no set time. It's competency based. So as you learn more things, boop, you go to 16, learn more things, 17. And we do touch bases with each of our apprentices, usually each week. So we're constantly looking at your career path, your professional development, what competencies are you learning, which projects you're assigned to. So this is very much a relationship between the Array supervisors and our apprentices, because we want to make a good name for ourselves at Array, and you're working on real world things, which is super cool. So how do you become an Array apprentice? There are technically 2 pathways into an Array apprenticeship. The first one is that you come to Array, you apply for an apprenticeship when we have openings, which we will post on Facebook, we'll do it on Twitter, you'll see them on our website, on our mailing list. You come to Array with prior experience, and there's a couple different things that you could come to Array with. So the first one is that potentially you may have attended an Array boot camp and have successfully completed and graduated from our program. So those boot camps I was talking about earlier, if you decided to go through our boot camp and you paid for it, we can't guarantee you that there's going to be an apprenticeship after your 4-month boot camp, but essentially if you graduate from our program, you are eligible to become a paid apprentice. You also may have attended a similar boot camp, so there's a bunch of different coding schools out there. You may have gone to a community college or a university. You don't necessarily have to have a degree, but you may have done some graphic design or some computer science before. So that could also qualify as prior experience. Or maybe you were self-taught. Maybe you've already been working in the technology and design field and you want just a little bit more deeper dive into training. That's also an option there as well. And then you basically, for you to be able to move into our paid apprenticeship, you have to be able to demonstrate proficiency in competencies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Git. Now, those words may be kind of alien to you, but we do look for, before you're moving right into the paid apprenticeship, that you have some web development experience in HTML, CSS, Java, which a lot of these, like we have a ton of resources, and we're actually at Array building our own online resources over the course of the next 6 to 12 months, but we need you to have some experience in those fields, and you have to demonstrate that to us through projects that you've built, and we will provide you an assignment to meet that so that we can check you off on what that RTI, that related training instruction piece, that you've been able to demonstrate to Array that you are ready to become a paid apprentice. So that's career path number 1. You might already be a prior experience. You don't need to go through our boot camp, and we can move you right into a paid apprenticeship when we have them available. Or, like a lot of our apprentices, you don't have any experience. And then this is okay too. This is the one that is probably the most highly competitive at Array. So as an example, we did have about 8 or 9, 15-ish apprenticeship opportunities that were open for fall of this year of 2020, and we received over 175 applications for like 8 to 15 spots. And that was really challenging. We had so many amazing people that were just so hungry to learn computer science and design, and it was really tough narrowing it down. And so if you're coming into Array and you want to go through the 4-month boot camp and then go into our paid apprenticeship, what we need project partners. So here's how it works. So how the apprenticeship works is we have the Array Studio, and we get these things called project partners. They scale from very large projects to small ones. Sometimes we have enough bandwidth to be able to take on the small ones, but sometimes when we get a project partner or larger project partners that say, hey, I want to partner with Array, we've got this project, I want to sponsor and I want to work with Array to create technology and design apprenticeships, we work through that. And so let's say in this example, we have 5 project partners that say, hey, we want to work with Array and we want to create opportunities to train the next generation of workforce in Wyoming in tech and design. And so we evaluate that. And let's say in this example, we get, over the course of 3 or 6 months, we get 5 project partners, and we're like, okay, this first project, we could probably dedicate 3 apprentices to. This one's 1 apprentice, this one's 2. So in this example, over the course of 3 or 6 months, we are able to go out to the world and say, guess what, everyone? We have 9 paid apprenticeship sponsor opportunities. And so what happens is we make the announcement. We've got 9 apprenticeships, and we begin admissions. So you go to arrayschool.com, you apply, you say that you're interested. We go through a very thorough admissions process, all from submitting a video to doing pre-work to demonstrating your competency, et cetera, and we then select what we feel are the best, the 9 to fill those apprenticeship positions. So we go through admissions, we fill these apprenticeship positions, and then, obviously, we move you into the Department of Labor Registered Apprenticeship Program here at Array. And so what that looks like after this is, again, the first 4 months is your related training instruction. So if this is sponsored, then you don't pay anything to come to these first 4 months. So we have a dedicated professor, Professor Lindley, who will be teaching you all the things of JavaScript and databases and React.js and Mongo and Express and all these like super high-tech terms. So we move you into that related training instruction if you don't have experience. And then basically, we have, let's say, for example, we have 4 senior staff members. So we're working on projects, we're getting everything ready to go. So when our new 9 apprentices come out of their RTI phase, we're ready to assign them on to projects. If you are coming into Array with experience, this is where you can kind of, in a way, quote unquote, test out of that first 4 months. Because then the next 8-ish months is the Array's paid apprenticeship side. So what happens after you complete your boot camp? Then we kind of move everyone over to the paid apprenticeship, and you are assigned a supervisor. And so these supervisors are project leads. So you will have one person that you will kind of report to, and they will be responsible for assigning you to a project, making sure the quality coming out of Array's apprenticeship is top-notch and up to our standards, your professional development, your ability to move through wage progression. So it's a really very small atmosphere there. And this is what makes an apprenticeship so great. And the goal at the end of your apprenticeship, it's pretty simple, which actually is already happening with our group, our apprentices here at Array, which is you start to build these relationships with the project partners' projects, which is kind of a mouthful. And they may go, hey, I really enjoy so-and-so. I would like to be able to offer them a job at our company full-time, like maintaining the project that they built. So our goal is really to send you back off out into the world. So the projects that you were already working on for that 8 months, now they want you to become, either contract or full-time employees, or, potentially Array is so busy, we might even offer you a job. Who knows? Or if the project partners at Array aren't offering, one of the key things, again, going back to what Array's main metric is we'll help you find employment after your apprenticeship. So this is the best case scenario. And the reason why we love this is because our project partners win. They usually come to us. They have a problem that they need solved. They need a mobile app. They need graphic design, whatever it may be. And when they partner with Array, they have this kind of like social entrepreneurship edge, where it's like when they partner with us, they potentially are creating new apprentices, right? That's going to kind of grow our workforce. But also, they get to kind of meet potentially their future employees. And so if they're looking at hiring in the next 6 to 12 months, they get to work with a bunch of our apprentices and say, oh my goodness, I really like working with so-and-so, and they'll have the opportunity to potentially offer them a job at the end. So companies win. They get their deliverables for their project. They get to have this good feeling knowing that they're kind of part of the social entrepreneurship ecosystem, and they may have this great opportunity if they're looking to hire to be able to kind of test the waters and maybe hire one of our apprentices, which I think is really cool. Obviously, benefits like people like you. If you have no experience or prior experience, you've been trying to figure out how to get into a career path in technology, if we have these apprenticeships and we have those enough projects, then you potentially have the opportunity to learn, and you get paid to learn, which I think is just really exciting. We get to do all of those things together. And, in Wyoming and around the country, we're able to diversify. We're able to build a tech ecosystem from the ground up in a brand new way. And we're able to create jobs and also a great entrepreneurial ecosystem that should hopefully be sustaining for new companies and new tech startups. Or maybe even come to our apprenticeship and you want to build your own company based around a mobile app idea that you've had. So it's just really, at the end of the day, it aligns with all 5 of the things that we're trying to do. Break down barriers of entry, build diversity, create more jobs and opportunities, keep learning and to work on cool projects, grow our relationships and our partnerships and our community and our state. It's just literally win-win. And we've already got some incredible partners that have created the apprenticeship opportunities for 2020. Just to kind of give you an example, there's this great company in Casper, Wyoming called FlowState. And FlowState is building some really cool devices and machine learning technology. So definitely check them out. So FlowState's one of our current partners. We also have Salado based in Casper. They're building this mobile app for competitive billiards and pool gaming. So they're one of our partners, and we've got apprentices working on building their mobile app, which is really exciting. We're also working with our tourism agency here in Cheyenne, Visit Cheyenne. So we've got some really cool mobile apps, or a mobile app that we're working on with them, which we'll talk about soon, but we've got apprentices working on this. We also work with Stitches the Q Care Center. So they have locations in Laramie, Wyoming, Cheyenne, and Wellington, Colorado. And we're working with them on new approaches to telemedicine and building mobile apps in the healthcare field. So they're a great partner. And so, it's really, we've got these great companies that have partnered with Array that have made the 2020 Array apprenticeships an opportunity, and also with the significant support and help of the Department of Wyoming Workforce Services. And now we're looking at creating more of these apprenticeship opportunities for 2021. Because really what it boils down to, when you look at this symbiotic relationship that we have our school and our studio and where they intersect, is where the apprenticeship, if we don't have studio work, we don't have project partners that partner with us to create these, we don't have apprenticeships. And so we can't definitively say we're going to have 10 paid apprenticeships next year or 12. This is going to happen in real time as we bring on new companies to make this work. When they come in, we're able to say, everyone, we've got 3 new apprenticeship opportunities, and we're going to be starting everyone in 90 days or 60 days. So that's, in a way, how these apprenticeships really work. And one of the things, when you look at this kind of Venn diagram that I've created here, this is kind of like the Array version of it, right? You've got the school, you've got the studio piece. But what I love about the apprenticeships, when it's the same kind of structure, is you have education and you have industry working together to create workforce development and jobs. One of our big passions at Array is that sometimes we've felt that as a national education society, it has moved so far away from what actually the industry is looking for. And so when these apprenticeships is a way to kind of glue them back together, Array's able to offer education that specifically ties into the need of our project partners and our industry. So in a unique way, when we have a company that's like, hey, we need Python, we need data science, we need a bunch of these things, we're able to quickly adapt and create new curriculum to be able to train a workforce, create jobs, to send them into the private industry very quickly. That's what I love about the apprenticeship model. So to wrap up, because I don't want to open it up for the last 15 minutes for any questions that you may have, and my mouth is so dry. So I was like, oh, hold on, give me a break. Okay, to wrap up, first of all, if you're on Facebook, you're probably already following us on Facebook. So when we have new opportunities for boot camp, apprenticeships, whatever, definitely follow us here on Facebook. We're on Instagram and on Twitter. Array School is kind of our little handle. Don't forget that our 2021 boot camps will open up next week. February 1st is the beginning of the spring boot camp, so our website's going to be updated next week, and admissions will open. And again, that's remote, open to anyone in the country that wants to attend our boot camp and learn technology, computer science, either again to prep for a potentially paid Array apprenticeship program, or to help you find a new career path in technology and design. Live here from Cheyenne, Wyoming. And, we're always looking for new project partners to create more apprenticeship opportunities. So that's the biggest challenge that we face, is that without these project partners, we can't create apprenticeships. And so if you know anyone out there, companies, businesses that have some projects or want to create a relationship with us to create these opportunities for 2021, please reach out to us. And all you have to do, again, message us here on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. You can also just email us directly at office@arrayschool.com. So, there you go. Bing, bing, boom, boom. So hopefully, thank you very much. Hopefully that answered some of the high-level questions, ideas, things that you may or may not have had about how an Array apprenticeship works. So I appreciate that. And now I would like to transition over to questions and answers. So think about this. What questions? Because if you have a question, probably someone else does. So I'm going to switch back over to just me again. There we go. Just me again. And so, what questions do you have? You just post them right here in the comments. Hopefully, was that informative at all? Was it any more clear than what it was before the start of this presentation? Hopefully. I know there's a delay, so I'm just going to give you some time to brainstorm and ask your questions. I would assume if there are no questions that I answer them all. And that can't be true. I wouldn't believe that for a second. Or if you don't have questions, you have comments or things like that about school, studio, the mixing of apprentices, anything else in between there. I am at your mercy. Let's see, I'm looking at the comments. Don't see anything yet. And hopefully my audio is still working too. I hopefully didn't scare you away too much. Oh, yay. Okay, cool. Let's see. So we have a question. Yay! All right. And first, I'm just looking at the comments. Thank you, Holly, if you are still on there. Hopefully, you learned a lot. And thanks again for being such a great partner with Ray and our apprenticeships. And thank you, Ryan. Loving to work with you. Thank you, Robert. And let's see. Here are some questions. From Mr. Jared Fisher, do partners reach out to you, or do you reach out to partners? Basically, how do companies realize Array offers apprenticeships? Great question. It's both. So I need help on getting the word out about, which is actually great, why it's National Apprenticeship Week, that Array does offer these services. We build mobile apps. We do website design. We do all these cool things. And again, going back to why that's important to partner with Array, we get to create apprenticeships. And then obviously, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be pushing really hard into project partner territory. So great question. And just so again as a reminder, this Thursday I'll be posting 2 Facebook events for project partners. Thursday at 10 and at 2 to talk to companies about what it means to partner with Array to create these. So great question. Christine, let's see. How can the economic development community help you identify project partners? Also a great question. Send them to me, please. You can email us at office@arrayschool. So if you think there are companies, or like you hear someone saying, hey, I'm thinking about building a mobile app, or I want to partner with a government agency or a company for long-term things, if you just introduce them to me, I will take it from there, and that would be great. So great question. Thank you, Christine. And let's see, Clint, if I have an application on file for the apprenticeship program, do you need to reapply for each apprenticeship opportunity when they become available? Great question, Clint. No. And so we keep all of your applications on file, and so basically they're there. And so every time there's a new apprenticeship opportunity, I'm just going to be like, I'm going to blast it out and say, hey, you've got 30 days, 60 days to apply. I'm going to try to obviously give you as much heads up as possible. But no, you do not have to reapply unless the application has changed, but we'll communicate that to you via email, Facebook, and those kind of things. So another great question, Clint. Woohoo. Yeah. So it sounds like, the moral of the story is you can kind of see the more project partners we have, the more apprenticeship opportunities we're going to be able to offer to all of our applicants. And as of today, based on even the applicants from when we opened, I think we opened up applications late March. We closed them late June for 2020 apprenticeships, so we've left them open as a rolling admissions. We're now quickly approaching over 200 applications to become an array apprentice, which is like, oh dear, there's so many good people. So, and like this is, again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a Wyoming company, like now that we're in this remote world. I mean, we definitely want to focus on Wyoming's economy and our growth, but we want to work with anyone that wants to work with us. And we want to create these apprenticeships and train them and give them a supervisor and work on real world things for 8 months and then get them jobs or keep them at array or ship them out. So yeah. Let's see, Christine, any rate card available for projects, or do you customize every project? Thinking basic 5-page websites. So we do kind of have a rate card, but it does kind of vary. There's a couple variables there. Obviously, the amount of pages on the website add up to that, so 5 pages is there. Also, content, like if we are building the content or the copy for it. And so on average, like for a website, which we're really focusing mostly on mobile app development and web application development, websites can range anywhere from 2 to 15, depending on, again, how many pages, is there e-commerce involved, are we creating content? And so what we do is when we have kind of a new potential client, we do a discovery meeting, so we kind of get all of that done. We put together a proposal, a scope of work, we have another session, and so yeah, it's very customized to each client. And then mobile apps obviously can range, again, based on the feature set. But we really help our clients with mobile apps because, like, you have this, like, golden idea of, like, oh, I've got this great idea for an app. And I don't think a lot of people realize just how time-intensive developing mobile apps can be and making them work and deploying them on iOS and on Android. And so we really try to, in a way, we kind of teach our clients kind of a little bit of tech terms and to try to make it work. So, yeah, great question, Christine. So we just love meeting people. We love meeting new potential projects, and then we kind of figure out, do we have the bandwidth, and is this an opportunity to potentially open up an apprentice, which would be great. Because then for those of you who are interested in apprenticeships, then I get an email blast to you and be like, oh, by the way, who wants to become an array apprentice? All right, I think we've got about let's see if there's any more other questions that come in. Got about 5 minutes. Any feedback on the presentation? Do I need to fix any slides? Just catch any typos or anything? I'm going to be giving this quite a few times in the coming months. Trust me, you won't hurt my feelings. Feedback is a gift. That's a quote from Apple. I'll wait a little bit to see if anything else comes in. All right, it sounds like, because I just don't want you to like stare at my face for the next 10 minutes, I'll just like awkwardly stare into the computer. Do you have questions while you look into my eyes? I don't want to do that. Thank you, Clint. Yay, well, that's a great way to end. So I am incredibly excited about the school, the studio, the apprenticeship opportunity, and this is again going back to our core mission statement at Array. Is how do we disrupt, and build the technology and design industries in rural America, and I am just really excited to be a part of that, not only at Array, but with our community and with our students, our apprentices, and our staff, and obviously great people like everyone out there. And I really just want to really rethink what education can look like and how do we bring education and workforce back together to create something that there really are not a whole lot of blueprints for. And that's what we love about Array and working with our partners, and just really thankful to everyone who has made Array what it is today. This thing, if you are a Harry Potter fan, our tree. I always joke that the breed of the Array tree is a whomping willow. It is a school like no other. It whomps me all the time. It's really difficult. It changes constantly. And so it's just a really great way to really have an impact and maybe, hopefully, leave a few dents in the universe. So, thank you everyone for your comments, for your time, your questions. Again, if you have any other questions, reach out to us on Facebook and on that, or office@arrayschool.com. And I'm going to go ahead and sign out. So, it has been a pleasure, a treasure, a joy I cannot measure. Have a wonderful and safe Monday evening, and I will see you, hopefully, maybe at Array very soon. So, good night, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. ET over and out for now.